Hello everyone and welcome back. السلام دوستای عزیز. خدا قنگ جور باشین، سر حال باشین و هر جای دنیا که هستین خوش باشین. It is officially the first day of Ramadan and the first thing I did this morning was to get some fresh flowers because the past few days I have been doing a deep cleaning of the apartment. I have been meal prepping for iftar. And today was just a moment for me to freshen up the apartment with a little touch of floral. And I must say, you guys, it is still very cold, brutally cold in New York. Now, for those of you who are not practicing Ramadan and may not know what Ramadan is, I'm sure some of you may have heard of it. Ramadan is the holiest month in Islam, a time of fasting, reflection, and most importantly, spiritual growth. So for a solid 30 days, Muslims around the world fast from sunrise to sunset. And this includes refraining from food, drink, and other physical needs. But Ramadan is more than just fasting. It's truly about gratitude, self-discipline, and deepening our connection with God. It's also, if I may add, a time for generosity, giving time and to those that are in need, sharing meals with friends and family, and that's truly the heart of Ramadan. And whether you're observing or just curious to learn more, Ramadan is a beautiful reminder to slow down, reflect, and appreciate the blessing around us. So to everyone celebrating Ramadan Mubarak, may this month bring you peace, reflection, and so much joy. خدا کنه ای رمضان به خوبی با جانجوری و به خوشی تیر شود. Hello everyone, this is the first time that I'm using my Lumix camera vlog. I bought this maybe 6 years ago and I hadn't used it. My nephew had it and I bought it because it was a good deal and I haven't used it in for some reason, the past 4 years when I have been vlogging, I've been using my iPhone, but it's a new year and I want to get back into vlogging and I figured let me use what I have. Let me use all the tools and resources that's right in front of me that I need to use, starting with the vlogging camera. So I hope you see some sort of difference. سلام دوستای عزیز خدا کنه که جور باشین سر حال باشین و هر جای دنیا که هستین خوش باشین. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name is Zara Sahibzada and I'm so grateful that you have tuned in. It's been a while, I'll admit that I haven't been on YouTube. I would say close to maybe 2 months that I have been not as consistent. I've been making YouTube videos for the past, oh boy, if I do the math, 14 years. My first video was uploaded back in 2009. It was right after college, and this video is simply going to be a very casual, laid-back intro, Q&A, get to know me, a reset video, because I've been making videos for 14 years and I was really strong and consistent. And I think the past 5 years, life just kind of happened. COVID happened, but life happened in between that I was making videos, but not as consistent. So I just wanted to reset, come on up on here and just really say hello. Thank you so much for being patient and being still subscribed and following me on this journey. I'm very active on my Instagram account. So for those of you who follow me on Instagram already, a big thank you. But if you don't, I'll put my handle down here. Definitely do give me a follow. And without any further delay, let's press the reset button. If only life was as simple as that. But let's press the reset button. So I'll start by introducing myself and then we'll get into the Q&A. But as you know by my channel, my name is Zara Sahibzada. I'm an Afghan beauty vlogger. I was born in France, raised in Germany. I lived in New York City now for the past 26 years now. So I am officially a New Yorker if I do say so myself. But for those of you who are new to my channel is all about beauty, lifestyle, and vlogs. For the most part, I have been filming both in Farsi, Dari, and English. So if you come across my channel and see different languages, mixed in with English, just know that I'm an Afghan native and I've been making videos in Farsi for the past 5 years, 6 years maybe. But I was one of the very first Afghan YouTubers that spoke in Farsi and vlogging. There's definitely, most certainly, incredible Afghan content creators who are much more amazing than me, and mashallah, they are gorgeous, they're successful, and I love seeing that, but there was never an Afghan representation in speaking Dari. So back in 2019, close to 2018, I started making content in Farsi, in my native language. And then COVID hit, life happened, we'll get into that, but I picked up on working with Tolo TV. For those of you who are familiar with Tolo TV is, Tolo TV was an app, or still is rather, but was an Afghan network in Afghanistan, and it was an Afghan television show that was featured in Afghanistan, but it was featured globally. Filmed mostly out of Afghanistan, and I was so grateful that I was able to be a part of it, and I filmed virtually. So I filmed from New York City, and I would submit my content to be live in Afghanistan in a show called Bandad Khush. So من در برنامه تولو کار میکردم با 2 سال از 2020 تا 2022. And then unfortunately when the Taliban invasion happened back in August 2021, I published a whole New York Times article about it. So if you wanted to know why I stopped making YouTube videos or why I stopped working with Tolo, I'll link the New York Times article right here. But I talked about, Taliban's banning Afghan women to be in a public space, to be on television. They banned education. They really banned any freedom that a woman, humanity, let alone, can have in Afghanistan. And that's something that's super important for me, to be a voice for the voiceless, whether it's Afghanistan, Palestine. And I think over the course of 5 years with the pandemic happening, life shifted, and I think for all of us it did. But now that it's 2025, I had a moment to reflect literally this past 5 years. Even though 5 years is a long time, 2020 feels like yesterday for me, to be honest. Pandemic, I remember like it was yesterday, March 16, New York City was on lockdown, and we're like, oh, 2 weeks, great. It's like, I get to be home and get paid for it. Literally thought that in 2 weeks, the world is going to be fine. Little did we know that we're going to be on lockdown for 6 months straight. People were laid off. At least in my job, a lot of people were being laid off, and I, alhamdulillah, was not laid off, but a lot of my colleagues and executives were laid off, and they started with like the top tiers. But nevertheless, I think because executives were being let go, and then 6 months later, when the world picked back up, slowly but surely, I was able to really grow my career, and I was given an opportunity. During the pandemic, I was able to grow my social media presence. I had more time where I was now locked at home. I was still working from home, but I was at home. We couldn't go anywhere, where I utilized that downtime to film and create content. But anyways, long story short, 5 years, we're not gonna go down memory lane. I'm just so excited that I'm in a better place now, mentally, physically. I am giving myself so much grace this year, which is why I've gathered all the courage to come in front of the camera, because I have to say, the Zara that I was 5 years ago, physically, I don't recognize myself. Just even 2 years ago, but I think over the course of 5 years, I have slowly but surely gained weight. I kind of realized my mental health needed to be taken care of, and I think moving on my own, having the apartment that I've always wanted to, it didn't happen overnight. I mean, I worked for it, and little by certainly, but slowly, I got into this apartment in New York City that I fell in love with. But I think it also took a toll on me, because between work, rent, life, financials, heartbreak, you name it, it's not like none of us have experience, but I think life in general took a toll on me, that the past 5 years, it's no secret it was a roller coaster for me, but 2025 for me is a year where I'm giving myself grace. I took a lot in me to come here and show my face on YouTube because I was so conscious of the amount of weight that I gained. And I was like, I don't want my viewers to look at me and be like, whoa, like, who the hell was that? But life happened, and I know this is not the end for me. I'm someone that if I put my mind into something, I know myself that I am really resilient and consistent when it comes to working hard. In every aspect of my life, I'm consistent. When it comes to work, I'm consistent. I give it my all. When it comes to decorating my apartment, I gave it my all. But for some reason, when it came to physically myself, I always put me last. I took care of my friends, my family, the relationships I was in. I was always putting everything and anything else first but myself. Not that I didn't care for myself, but I just kind of didn't want to face it. I didn't want to face my mental health. I didn't want to face the fact that I gained weight. I didn't want to face the fact that I had traumas in life that I swept underneath the rug and never faced it head on. And I think 2025 is the year where I am giving myself grace, where I've accepted the reality of the past, but also not living in the past. And that's so powerful for me to say that I'm no longer living in the past. I have really, really worked hard to be where I am, and I'm giving myself grace. There's a moment just a few days ago where I came home and I was like, I have to give myself a moment to acknowledge, like, shit, this is my life. I have the apartment that I've always dreamed of. I have a job that I'm so in love with. Yes, there are things that I didn't think I wouldn't have, but I have to take a moment to be grateful for what I do have and not allow the negative noises, people in my past, like their voices are in my head. And I said, I need to close that down. So I'm excited. I'm really excited for 2025. I'm giving myself grace. So the first question is, how old are you? I am 35. I just turned 35 this past 2 weeks. February 12th, 1990 is my birthday, and I celebrated my birthday very, very low key this year. I had a moment to reflect, a moment of gratitude, a moment of healing, and I'm really excited for what the new year has to hold. I think living in a world where social media is age, sometimes you get discriminated, and there's people who celebrate you and there's people who will judge you for your age and be like, you're a girl, you're 30, sit back down, you don't need to make content. And I'm just like, I've been making content for 14 years plus. It's my hobby, it's my sweet escape, and I just love being creative. But yeah, I am 35 years old. The second question that I've got quite often is, what do you do for a living? There's three things in my life that I keep private. One is finances, money, anything of that sort. I think it's very respectable to keep private. Second is my love life. I keep that private. And third is what I do for a living. I will share what industry I'm in. I'm in the luxurious retail learning and development industry, and I've been in this industry for 14 years now. This particular job, I've been working now with them for a year. Prior to that, I worked for Tory Burch. I'm happy to share my past for close to 8 years. And I love it. I'm really, really grateful for this job. I enjoy every ounce of it. I love the environment. I love the people that I work with, and I go every day with so much joy. If there was one thing that I could change about it, it would be if I could dress up. This job, unfortunately, requires a certain uniform and a certain color code that you can wear. And that's the one thing that just breaks my heart, because I love dressing up. As you can tell, I love color. Like you can tell in my home, I just love decorating. But nevertheless, I'm really grateful that I'm able to take care of myself, that I'm able to have a roof over my head, and that I'm able to take care of my parents. The third question is, are you single? Are you married? And Naughty, naughty. But no, I'm very much single. I have been giving myself a break where I am not on dating apps. I am not out and about looking. If the universe sends someone my way, by all means, my doors are open. But I have taken a break this past year. The year just started. It's literally March 1st. I'm filming this video on March 1st. But I think I'm taking a moment to myself just to heal, because I dated someone that I cared for very, very much in 2023. And it was someone that I dated for a very short amount of time. But that person was someone from my past. I knew that person when I was 18, and he came back to my life 16 years later. So in my mind, like, that was the perfect fairy tale. You know, he was my first interaction of dating when I was 18, and then 16 years later, he comes back to my life. In my mind, I'm like, of course he's the one. And I did fall in love with him, and he does have a very special place in my heart till this day, but he hurt me very, very, very much. And I just wanted to take some time to heal from it, and I have, and I'm in a better place, but I'm not ready to date yet. If someone comes my way, by all means, I'm happy to have the doors opened. If it's meant to happen, it'll happen. But I'm not online swiping left or right. I just don't have that energy or mental capacity anymore. Between work, life is just a lot that I just want to protect my energy. I want to protect my heart. I want to protect my peace. And if anyone comes my way, by all means, I will let the universe take care and do its thing. But yes, I lost track what question number we're in, but the other question that I've been getting a lot on the Instagram, as my mom says, the sonogram. She's like, Zara, عکس دا سونوگرام دیدم. زارا جان کجا بودی؟ این ویدیو را دا سونوگرام دیدم. I love my mom. I hope this doesn't come across me mocking her. I adore my mom. I think we all have our moms really be, you know, self-conscious and what, especially being as an Afghan girl, people, you know, tend to think that after a certain age you are expired. Like, the community does not define your timeline. But nevertheless, I love my mom. The next question is, how many siblings do I have? I have one brother and I have 3 sisters. There's a total of 5 of us, if I do the math correctly. That's missing. Oh yeah. But I have one brother, I have 3 sisters, and I'm really grateful that I've had a wonderful relationship with all of them. It was never easy, but again, I keep my family very much private. You don't see my family on my social media or my Instagram or any of that platform, because I really want to protect their privacy and respect them as well. I'm an open book. On the other hand, I am very comfortable in, you know, just talking about my life experiences. That doesn't mean that I don't have a private life, if that makes sense. Meaning there's certain umbrellas and aspects of my life that I do keep private. My finances, my love life, and of course, what I do for a living. And I think these are things that are very confusing for people to understand, especially when I am, or if I do go on a date where people ask, are you into social media? And that's like, they get very like tricky. So I think my future person, which leads me to a next question, what type of person am I looking for? Jesus. I wish I can give you, you know, a long list or a list of what I'm looking for. I think being 35 and experiencing what I've experienced, I just know that I want someone who has a really, really good soul. They have a pure heart, and they're kind, they're honest, they're transparent, and they're vulnerable. Of course, attraction is important. Chemistry is important for me. I always go over the 4 C's. Communication. They're able to communicate, but it's not just communicating, because you can communicate all day long with someone. It's also comprehension, being able to understand one another, and being able to kind of meet each other halfway. But also chemistry. Chemistry is not just how one looks, but the intellectual level, the emotional level, how you kind of connect with one another. And I think these are the big important factors of what I look. If you ask me this question of what I look for, maybe, I don't know, 6-7 years ago in my 20s, I would have for sure said 6'5", 6'4". I don't care about the blue eyes. Definitely handsome, a great stable job. Maybe I would have said muscles. Although I do love a good man with good muscles, that is my weakness. I am not gonna lie. But height is not a big factor to me. For me, there's the ratio of if they're tall, then they're gonna have to be, you know, I don't like a skinny tall guy, but then again, I've been on a date with a skinny tall guy. I don't know. It depends on their personality or chemistry. I've dated someone who's been my height. Chemistry was amazing, great muscles. I don't know, like I don't have a set look, but I think for me it's the 4 key ingredients: communication, comprehension, chemistry, and connection. And I think that has so many layers to it. I'm also 35. I can tell you that one thing that I want is to build a family and have my family of my own. So that's very important for me. But nevertheless, hopefully that answered your question. Next question is, how have I grown my social media platform? You know, that's a good question. I wish I could tell you there's this recipe or formula. You know, add 2 tablespoons of salt, you know, add 2 tablespoons of salt and a little dash of sugar. That sounds horrible, but it's not a recipe. I think for me, my success in growing my platform has been number 1, transparency. You know, audience, anybody can tell a fake from a mile away. And by that, I mean, if you're not being authentic, if you're just doing it for the sake of monetization, or if you're doing it just to sell products or just being a salesperson, like, we don't need that. But you have to be genuine and authentic in who you are, and being consistent. And I think that's something that I'm working on, is being consistent, because I went from being like extremely active on YouTube to letting life get in the way. And it's okay. I'm not mad at myself for doing it, because I gave love the opportunity, and I'm in a place now where I really just want to balance giving myself grace and giving myself time. I've always put life, work, family, my friends, my relationship, my home first. And I think for the first time in a long time, or as long as I can remember, I'm putting myself first. I'm putting my mental health first. I'm putting my physical body first. I'm getting back into working out and making sure I put proper things in my body. And I'm in a place where I feel good, and it took some time to get here. You know, I had to heal a lot of wounds. And don't get me wrong, there's scars still there. Occasionally I will think of them, but it's not running my life anymore. So the one thing I can tell you is, if you want to grow your platform, is to be honest, to be genuine, be transparent, and be consistent with it. And I promise you, the rest will come. If you're doing it for the right reasons, if you have your niche, if you have something you're passionate about, the audience will come. But I think just being focused on those 3 key ingredients will eventually be able to grow an audience. But yeah. Next question, and I think we'll do 3 more and then we'll wrap it up from there, is, where do I see myself by the next year? Where do I see myself in just a year? Oh my, life can happen. We all know that in just a blink of an eye, life can give you unexpected things. But I think for me, what I would like to accomplish this year is my physical health, my mental health. And I really want to get back in shape. So this year, I'm really focused in getting back in shape. And I know that will take time. It's not going to happen overnight. And it just kind of worked out perfectly, because today is March 1st. It is the first day of Ramadan. And I'm fasting, so that gives me the perfect opportunity to just like reset and really be focused on my spiritual health, my mental health, my physical health. So I think going from eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner to only eating once a day, and occasionally I wake up for suhoor. I'm trying to get better at that. I'm excited to really focus back on my mental health because I don't recognize myself physically. I occasionally see a reflection of myself in the mirror or even a bad angle on a photo, and I'm like, who is that? I don't recognize myself. I've gained some weight. I have like a little double chin. My arms is really my insecure areas. And I just want to get to a place where I feel good and I feel confident, where I can wear sleeveless again. I stopped wearing sleeveless because I'm just not content with my arms. And my neck is my biggest insecurity now. So I'm someone who's very vulnerable. I'm comfortable saying that about myself in the internet for people to watch because I know myself that I am someone who, if I want something, you bet I will get it done. I'm consistent. Once I put my mind into it, it's not gonna be easy. Rest assured, working out, trying to eat better, it's not easier said than done. But all we can do is try, and I know we'll get there. So for me, my biggest goal for the year of 2025 is getting back in shape, physically and mentally. The next question that surprisingly, at least from my following, I've got quite a lot, is how do you live in New York City? And I didn't understand what that quite meant, and there was numerous questions on how to live in New York City. I think for those that don't live in New York City, I'll be honest, think that New York City is this magical, luxurious city that if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. And although there's like aspects of it, little grains of salt of it, that is a little magical, just know that New York City is not a pretty city. It looks beautiful from a distance. Yeah, Manhattan skyline, ooh, it just hits me. But if you lift up the rug, if you go in deeper into the city, New York City is one shitty place to live in. Let me tell you that. I've lived here for 26 years. New York City is really, really expensive to live in. New York City is really, really dirty to live in. Certain areas of Manhattan, you're like, what the? The subways, underground subways, forget COVID, forget Corona. Like, it's the most filthiest subway system. It's dirty. Just a few days ago, I literally was hearing something in the back of my mind, and I look around, this homeless man is chasing me and spitting me. I literally freaked out, looked around, and nobody was there. And these are just scary moments that happen. In New York City, is pretty from a distance, but it's not easy to live in. And my analogy of what it's like living in New York City is if you take a rock and you throw a rock, you pick it back up, you throw it, you pick it back up and you throw it. You get the idea. Throw the rock, pick it back up. What happens to the rock? There's no wrong or right answer, but that is the analogy of living in New York City. If you throw a rock, pick it back up, you throw a rock, pick it back up, what happens to the rock? A rock never breaks, but the edges get sharper. In other words, New York City, you get tossed around through the hustle and bustle between trying to live a certain lifestyle in New York City, between paying the absurd rent. You have to like hustle to make it. And throughout that, there are some roller coasters. But one thing it doesn't break you. It just really makes the best version of you, because New York City, it's no secret that it has a heartbeat of its own. And once you're able to grasp that pulse, it becomes your playground. So it's not easy. It takes time. I lost count of the amount of people that I've interacted physically in real life or virtually, were like, hey, I want to live in New York City. Can we meet up for coffee? Do you know anyone that can help me out? And I'm like, I'm happy to share the resources of what I can, but New York City life doesn't happen overnight. I lived here for 26 years, and it took me a solid six years of my adult life to really get where I am today. And some may have it shorter than others, but there really is no shortcut. But the reason I'm saying this, I don't know why it's the end goal for people to live in New York City. Sure, there's this magical aspect to it, but if you live here long enough, you realize that New York City at the end of it is a shitty place to live. I'm in a place in my life where I'm like, I am okay leaving New York City if I find the right person in my life that wants to, I don't know, move to Dubai even. Like, I've never been to Dubai. we'll get there. The next question, where's the one place I want to travel to? Dubai. I've never been to Dubai, but there's something about it that just kind of gravitated towards me. You know, I've lived in the US for the past 26 years now, and between what is happening in the Middle East had me really be more aware of the political side of things. I was never someone who was ever interested into political things. I never educated myself, but the past year or two, three, between the Taliban invasion in Afghanistan, when Biden withdrew the troops and just destroyed Afghanistan, literally 20 years just down the flush, and what happened in Palestine, made me more self-aware of what is happening to our US tax dollars. As a US citizen, for us to pay an enormous amount of tax, and that tax is going to destroy the Middle East. Let's face it, we all know that as a US citizen, your tax dollars are going into supporting Israel, where they are destroying Gaza. And it's a genocide. What I'm trying to say is, I've never been so focused on political until recent events that have taken place, that I'm like, I don't want to live in a place where I'm not proud where my tax dollar is going. And I don't have the luxury to like pick up and leave and live in Dubai. I will visit Dubai this summer, inshallah. That's the one place that is on my bucket list for 2025. I definitely want to visit Dubai, so I'm not traveling anywhere else. I'm not taking a single PTO or vacation day from work until I go to Dubai, because I just want to stay there for quite some time and do some research and visit different neighborhoods. But nevertheless, I'm ready to take a break from New York. As much as I wanted this lifestyle, as much as I've wanted to live in New York City with this particular apartment, I'm grateful that I got it. But now that I'm here, I'm like, wait, is this what I've always wanted? Like, this is not it. This is not it. I'm so ready to live in a suburban life, to be married, have little children, be a soccer mom, go to Home Goods, decorate my dining table, host dinner, and host my family. Like, that's the life that I've always wanted. I'm in the city life now because just work, and, you know, I'm single. I don't need to live in a house. I don't need to buy a house. My dad always tells me how much I'm wasting money in rent, that I should be buying a house and putting that towards mortgage. And although he's right, I'm not ready to commit to a house yet. But nevertheless. All right, so that wraps up the Q&A. It is currently 2:50. It's almost 3 o'clock, so I'm going to change because it is the first day of Ramadan. I am fasting, and my sister, every year for the first iftar, she hosts the entire family. So I'm going to get ready, change, and go and help her. But before I go see her, I need to go get a few dessert pieces. I want to get dessert for everyone. Since she's doing all the cooking and all that jazz, I want to show up with flowers and maybe like a few desserts for the guest and family. So I'm going to quickly change. This is clearly not how I'm going to show up. I have no clue what I'm going to wear, so let's figure out what we're going to wear, and then we'll go visit my sisters for iftar. No clue what to wear. I was just notified that iftar is at 5:30. I'm like, what? Since when? I always feel like iftar is like at 7. Well, sundown. Why do I feel like sundown is not at 5:30? Anywho, this is 3 o'clock. It will take me in about an hour to get to my sister's place because they live an hour away from the city. So I need to leave like ASAP, so then I can also stop at the bakery to get dessert. So since I don't have time, I'm just gonna put something super quick on. Literally, it's gonna be jeans and a sweater. If I can fit into this, it's wild. I'm starting my first training session of 2025 my personal training session Tuesday. Today is Saturday. So it's right after iftar. The trainer is coming at 8 to my apartment because we have a gym within the apartment. It was a pretty penny, I'm not gonna lie, but that's the one thing I am willing to invest on is a trainer. Plus, I'm not gonna lie, I have a really good job that it covers most of the expenses for personal training. All right, you guys, this is the final look. You can't really see it much, but I have my oversized black blazer, white collar, this sweater layered with this white button up, my jeans. I have my hair in a ponytail, have my Tory Burch earrings done on my nails. It is the first day of Ramadan, so I don't have nail polish on because when we pray, we don't recommend to have nail polish on. Anyways, eventually I'll do my nails closer to Eid, so do forgive me. Also, it's a perfect opportunity to give my nails some room to breathe. Between the tips and mips and nail polish, my nails can breathe a little bit. Not the cutest look, but for Ramadan, I'm going to give my nails a break. I do have my little David Yorman ring that no longer fits my fingers, so we were gonna wear it in the pinky, even though I'm not a pinky kind of gal, but it's all good. I don't know, I just kind of want to start using the jewelry that I have. I just feel like I buy things and they just sits. So. This is why driving to Eastern Long Island, New York is not fun. But I'm not gonna complain. I'm grateful that I still have the luxury of having a car where I can drive out east and visit my family. But traffic is insane as expected. I'm super self-conscious right now filming because I want to make sure I pay attention to the road, but also not be honked at. But anywhoosies. All right, I'm going to wrap up this vlog right here. بازم یک دنیا تشکر. خدا کنه این برنامه شما خوش کرده باشین. یادتان نره که من به شما عرفت یک ویدیو ندارم. این رمضان یک خوشی به خوبی تیر شود. خدا کنه هر دعایی که داشته باشین خداوند قبول کنه. وقت را نمیگیرم تا برنامه آینده. خداحافظ.